And welcome back to NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen as we continue to get insights from beef cattle producers into the concerns, challenges, and of course the strategies of success for U.S. beef exports. All right, gang, let's talk about some of the other trade agreements out there that the United States has been part of over the years, and if there has been some lessons to be learned, if you will, about what might happen under TPP. A big one that I remember, and it's hard to believe that it's already been 20 years ago, was NAFTA, and now of course is the agreement between Canada and Mexico. Renee, talk about NAFTA from your experience and maybe what we've learned and certainly what was gained.
Sitting in on APAC committee meetings with Secretary Vilsack, we've learned that over the years, we did not get a level playing field in our previous trade agreements. And I think that's the big change that's coming on with TPP is that we've learned from our lessons. We've learned things that were supposed to be beneficial that ended up biting us in the rear end. And I think TPP is going to be a much more level playing field. And that's why, again, it's an ultra important that we do get this passed because it will protect us. It will keep us in the global economy. We're 5% of the population of the world. The United States is 5%, but we're 25% of the global trading. That's big. We're going to lose that if we don't go along with TPP. And learning from these other past trade agreements, TPP is going to be a lot more fair.
Kevin, can you believe it's been 20 years since we passed NAFTA?
I do. Time goes by fast when you're having fun. So to Renee, the follow-up on Renee's, it's important to realize that Canada and Mexico are also part of the 12 nations of TPP. And so signing that agreement levels the playing field for everybody, all 12 countries, and that's hugely important. Give the U.S. cattlemen and the beef industry a level playing field, and consumers across the world will just want to buy our products, and that'll help us all the way back at our ranch.
Russell, to follow up on NAFTA, and when we talk about Canada and Mexico, right now that consistently they're in the top 5 in terms of an export destination for U.S. beef and a good trading partner. And the Pacific Northwest and Washington State, we see a lot of Canadian cattle come in. We import a lot of live and finished fed cattle into our plants and our feedlots in Washington State, which are then processed. We have the opportunity to export that product through our seaports or in other parts of the country. The Canadian trade is similar to a horseshoe, where we see a lot of live animals come in the western half of the United States, and the central part of the country is sending box product up into central and eastern Canada. So it's a good working relationship. Certainly there have been some issues like Renee had touched on about some of the health barriers, but we've seen those recently go by the wayside with blue tongue and anaplasmosis. And my hope is that TPP is going to give us a stronger foundation for future trading agreements, that we won't have to have some of those small non-scientific trade barriers get in the way of trade, and will give our producers the opportunity to have a level field and access to those great markets that are represented in the TPP.
And obviously Texas watched the NAFTA negotiations very closely as well.
Yes, being from Texas, we do import a lot of Mexican live cattle ourselves and turn them out onto wheat pasture. So in turn, we're importing those live cattle then from Mexico. But in turn, Mexico is buying a lot of these products that we don't utilize here in the United States. And tongues, tripe, kidneys, livers, oxtail. That is something that we don't use here, and it is a big market for Mexico.
Well, there's certainly been a lot to learn from trade negotiations that happened under agreements like NAFTA. And of course, another big one not too many years ago was the Central America Free Trade Agreement, or CAFTA.
CAFTA's been it's been very effective, and most recently, Russell, is South America. We have just opened up markets for live cattle with Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, Colombia, and these are some really viable markets that want live animal, they want embryo semen. They've been getting some of that, but these are some brand new markets that have just opened up and emerged. And again, these are these are other opportunities for our cattle producers.